What if I told you that the thing most people are terrified of is the exact tool the wealthy use to build generational wealth? Debt. Yeah, the same thing that keeps most of us up at night is literally the foundation of how rich people keep getting richer. And before you click away thinking this doesn't apply to you, stick around because by the end of this video, you are going to walk away with 6 real, actionable ways that wealthy people use debt as a weapon to grow their money, and how you can start thinking the same way. Think about it like this. 2 people walk into a bank. One of them is nervous, asking for a loan to cover some bills. The other one is completely relaxed, asking for a line of credit to fund a new investment. Same bank, same concept of borrowing money, completely different mindset and outcome. That gap between those 2 people is not about income. It is about financial education, and that is exactly what we're going to close today. Number 1 is using other people's money to buy assets. This is probably the most fundamental shift in thinking that separates everyday people from wealthy ones. When you take out a mortgage on a rental property, you are not going into debt in the traditional scary sense. You are using borrowed money to acquire something that produces income for you. The tenant pays rent. That rent covers your mortgage payment, and ideally there is still cash left over every single month. The bank funded your asset. That is a completely different relationship with debt than putting groceries on a credit card. The rich understand that if the return on the asset is higher than the interest rate on the loan, you are winning. That gap between what you borrowed at and what you earn is called positive leverage, and it is one of the most powerful forces in wealth building. Number 2 is using home equity to invest. If you own a home and you have been paying down your mortgage for a few years, you likely have equity sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Wealthy people tap into that through a home equity line of credit, which people call a HELOC, or through a cash-out refinance. They pull that money out and put it into investments that generate a return higher than the interest they are paying. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Is that not risky? And yes, it can be if you do not have a solid plan. The key here is that wealthy people do not pull equity out to go on vacation or buy a car. They pull it out to deploy it strategically into something that grows. The risk is real, but so is the reward when it is done with discipline and a clear investment thesis. Number 3 is business loans and lines of credit. Here's something most employees never think about. When a business owner takes out a loan to buy equipment, hire staff, or expand operations, that loan is creating the conditions for more revenue. The debt is being used as fuel. A coffee shop owner who borrows $50,000 to open a second location is not drowning in debt. They are multiplying their earning potential. And here is the part that really changes the game. Business interest payments are often tax deductible. So the government is essentially helping subsidize the cost of borrowing. That is a completely different world than personal consumer debt. Number 4 is using margin in investment accounts. This one is a little more advanced, and honestly it comes with more risk, so pay close attention. Wealthy investors sometimes borrow against their existing investment portfolio to buy more investments. Brokerages allow this through what is called a margin account. If your portfolio is performing at 10% annually and you are borrowing at 5%, the spread is your profit. But here is the thing. If the market drops, you can face what is called a margin call, where the brokerage demands you pay back part of the loan immediately. This strategy is not for beginners, but understanding it helps you see why the ultra-wealthy can seemingly grow their money without ever selling their assets or paying taxes on gains. Number 5 is borrowing against a life insurance policy. This one flies completely under the radar for most people. There is a type of permanent life insurance called whole life, or indexed universal life, that builds up what is called a cash value over time. Wealthy people use these policies not just for the death benefit, but as a private banking system. They pay into the policy, the cash value grows, and then they borrow against that cash value to fund investments or opportunities. The loan does not show up on a credit report. There is no approval process once the policy is funded, and you set the repayment terms yourself. The money inside the policy keeps growing even while you have borrowed against it. This is sometimes called infinite banking, and it is a strategy that has been quietly used by business owners and investors for decades. Number 6 is strategic real estate refinancing. This one ties back to real estate, but from a different angle. Let us say you bought a rental property 5 years ago, and it has appreciated significantly. You refinance that property, pull out a chunk of cash, and since it is a loan and not a sale, you do not owe any taxes on that money. Then you use that tax-free cash to go buy another property. Repeat that process, and you are building a portfolio without ever triggering a taxable event. This is sometimes called the BRRRR strategy, which stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Real estate investors use this cycle to scale their portfolios using the same dollars over and over again. It is not magic, but it is genuinely one of the most effective wealth-building systems out there. Now here's the thing that ties all of these together. The wealthy are not reckless with debt. They are calculated. They ask one question before every single borrowing decision: what is this money going to produce? If the answer is nothing, they do not borrow. If the answer is something with a return greater than the cost of borrowing, they move forward. That mindset shift is available to you right now, today, without having $1 million in the bank. One thing that trips a lot of people up is thinking you need perfect credit or a massive income to start using debt strategically. The truth is your credit score is a tool. And just like any tool, the more you understand it, the better you can use it. Paying down high-interest consumer debt first, keeping your credit utilization low, and making on-time payments consistently are all steps that open the door to better borrowing terms. Better terms mean lower interest rates, and lower interest rates mean the gap between what you borrow at and what you earn gets wider. Start building that foundation now, even if you are starting from scratch. Here is a really important truth nobody likes to say out loud. The system is built in a way that rewards people who know how to use credit, and it punishes people who do not. That is not fair, but it is real. The good news is that financial education is more accessible now than it has ever been. You are already doing the work by watching videos like this one. Every piece of knowledge you pick up puts you one step closer to making your money work for you instead of always working for your money. The difference between debt that traps you and debt that frees you comes down to intention. Are you borrowing to consume, or are you borrowing to build? That one question can completely change your financial trajectory if you really sit with it and apply it honestly to every financial decision you make going forward. So here's what I want to know from you. Out of these 6 strategies, which one are you most curious about trying first or learning more about, and what is the biggest obstacle holding you back right now? Drop it in the comments below because I read them and I genuinely want to know where you are on this journey. Also, if this video actually changed the way you look at debt today and gave you a new insight, do me a huge favor and tap the like button. Subscribe to the channel so we can stay connected and keep tackling these wealth-building strategies together. I will see you in the next one.